ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, and this is Daily Dive. It is Wednesday, December 10th, 2025, and this show begins now. We are live streaming via the airwaves of North American Talk Radio on YouTube. I ask that you please subscribe to the channel before you leave. It helps us look better, and it helps you be in the know of when our next content is dropping. Of course, this show's every day at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. On today's awesome show, we're going to talk about the NLL Hall of Fame, why it comes up, and where is everybody? Like, what is the league doing at this point? Next up, we're going to talk about creating the narrative. What do I think is going to happen? What do I think the storylines will be? What should you look out for? We're creating the narrative for the NLL in week number 3. And finally, stay tuned for my week 2 NLL Power Rankings. Before we get started, this show is presented by the good people at netalkradio.com. Head over to that website and click the event tickets tab, and there you can get National Lacrosse League tickets. All you have to do is search for your favorites or local National Lacrosse League team. Again, natalkradio.com, click the event tickets tab, and search for your team once you do so. Alrighty, folks, let's now get into our first segment. I'm going to be talking about a potential or lack thereof, really, NLL Hall of Fame. Now, folks, why does this come up? Well, I'll be honest. Sometimes I dabble in listening to other shows, and really, I was listening to OTCB. The boys only did audio this week, even though I'm not happy with Teddy and Pat for that. The boys did only audio this week. And while I was listening on Spotify to OTCB, they were talking about Dane Doby heading to the Ring of Honor. Obviously, the Roughnecks are going to make him forever a Roughneck. But the topic came up, though, shouldn't there be also a 44 retired for Calgary? Like, wouldn't that make sense? They also talked about how Curtis Dixon, he already left for San Diego, and now he left for Vancouver, even though technically this time for Vancouver was because of his young family. But they started to talk about, retiring numbers, not just this Ring of Honor, but really making it to where no one else wore the number again. And unfortunately, some things come up for that, which makes it, it puts a roadblock in why that can happen. Number one, of course, is the owners of the arena not caring about the NLL. Pat Gregoire said he used to hate when he would go to Toronto Maple Leafs games, and he would also go to Toronto Rock games. He would see the Rock numbers in the rafters, but then they go to the Maple Leafs game, and they're nowhere to be found. It's like, oh, that's a little bit interesting. And then another thing that comes up, besides just the owners maybe not caring about the NLL as much and recognizing it as just a tax write-off for their business at this point, another thing is the NLL always has teams relocate and fold. And so it sucks. But that's why I bring this up, because I feel like the NLL should feel even more obligated to do something about this. There's not much they can do. Of course, I'm not paid to be that creative. But folks, the NLL Hall of Fame, if you look on the NLL's website, and by the way, it is not a fun thing to find, by the way, like at all. But once you do find the Hall of Fame via NLL.com, folks, in the last 10 years, the NLL has nominated people to its League Hall of Fame Twice. Twice. In 2016, and then again in 2021. But can someone explain to me in Brett Frude's office, can you explain why you haven't touched it in 4 years? And for those of you that want to say, well, Brett Frude's working hard, really? He's working hard. Guys, I get this offseason has been interesting. The CBA, of course, is the elephant in the room here. He had Rochester being sold. He had Oshawa shafting the city of Albany. I get it. But what about the previous 4 years, Mr. Commissioner? Guys, this is season 4 of this show. The last time the NLL touched the Hall of Fame was 2021. And I knew Brett Frude was not there yet, but Brett Frude, you have done nothing. Nothing since then. Where's the love for the players? And then my favorite thing, and listen, I know there's going to be a lot of people that just are going to be so angry when I say, I don't care. What the heck is the NLL Alumni Club, respectfully? I know there's a lot of players and people on there that are on there. Great. What the heck does that mean? That's about as meaningless at this point as the NLL Unboxed. No one can explain what this is. A place where a bunch of old guys can connect. Guys, they last named somebody August 28th. But again, what does that mean? You go to this little pool and you can join this club. Guys, you're not creating anything new by creating a new social club for old guys in lacrosse to reminisce about the old days. That's been a thing in 30 different other minor leagues. There's so many times old guys can get together and think about how great everything was. But that does not honor them. Again, what the heck is the Alumni Club? It does nothing for the game. They have not mentioned it on the broadcast. They don't mention it on the website. So what does it do besides nothing? This is on Brett Frude's watch. So we can see how he had a busy offseason. Guys, we're in season 4 of Brett Frude and Daily Dive. Come on. So what's the answer? Again, shout out to Dane Dobie for being some Ring of Honor. But what if the Calgary Roughnecks do close up shop in 5 years? What's going to happen? So long, Dane Dobie. Where's the honoring of the players? I don't understand it. Again, in a league where teams constantly fold and relocate, you're going to just ignore your Hall of Fame? Guys, in what other sports league do they literally ignore their Hall of Fame for 4 years and 8 of the last 10? It's unacceptable by everybody involved in that process. I just don't, what am I supposed to do here? What is the do we know if anything been created? And again, what is the Alumni Club? Guys, oh my God. It's so badly run. You know what's on the top of their official Instagram page? Him. It's a pronoun. What does that even mean? The person creating the social media page didn't even know the crap they were doing. What? Come on. It's stupid. It's laughable. I'm sick of every little thing. I mean, this league miserably fails at the dumbest things. Hall of Fame. They don't touch their Hall of Fame, and the Alumni Club has a pronoun at the top of their page. Oh my. So again, when you're referring to the Alumni Club, refer to it as sir. What? You cannot justify that if you tried. But good for them, they get to play golf. Give me a break. This league cracks. It literally is amusing with what they try to get away with. And guys, so many media members allow this to happen. Okay? No one's going to talk about it. 8 of the last 10 years, you haven't touched your Hall of Fame. And and the alumni club is referred to as he and him. Buzz off, man. That's unbelievable. That's borderline impressive how dumb that is. All right. We come back. We're going to create the narrative, though, for week number 3 in the NLL. Shout out to the old guys.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Michael Day says my pronouns are no F's given. It's true. Welcome back, Michael Day. All right, so I just talked about the NLL Hall of Fame, or lack thereof at this point. Like, good Lord. Refer to the alumni club as sir. Shut up. Now we're going to create the narrative for week number 3. Now, this will be a more fun segment, I will admit. So what we're going to do is set the tone of the storylines for week number 3. We're going to talk about why. I'm like, just what you should watch for. Like, what should fans be interested in? I know for me, when I'm watching sports shows all week, it gets me motivated to what the heck? Hold on. The hair was annoying me. Okay, now we're back. It gets me annoyed. Well, not really annoyed. I want to watch NFL and NBA games because I watch other sports shows talk about it, so we're going to do that here. All right, so with that being said, let's get to our storylines for week number 3. Alrighty, so first off, I mentioned this kind of last week, even though these guys did not play, which is dumb on my part. Brandon O'Neill and CJ Kurse. Now, I did walk back my take. It was smart of me to do so, in my opinion. I did say last Monday that maybe CJ Kurse was already better than Brandon O'Neill. And then I realized, you know what? It probably wasn't smart because Brandon O'Neill's had 4 hat tricks last year, including 2 4 spots. So it didn't make any sense. So I had to walk it back. So now we're going to talk about this week. And I'm interested to see, because it's an interesting dynamic in who they play this week. So Brandon O'Neill of the Philadelphia Wings is going to play against the Colorado Mammoth, okay? Now, the Mammoth just shut down the Vancouver Warriors offense in the tune of 10-7. Like, they allowed 7 goals against guys named Curtis Dixon, Jesse King, Keegan Ball, Peyton Cormier, Marcus, a bunch of guys. Adam Charlin Beatties, the whole crew. They got held to 7 goals. That's not a lot. So, can Brandon O'Neill step it up? We know Joe Resetarits is going to do his thing for the Philadelphia Wings. We also know the Philadelphia Wings might be the first game of their last season. It might be. There's a very strong consensus now that could be the case after Joe Tsai helped them out for another year. But this team's on the way out. So can Brandon O'Neill step up, knowing that he has control of the right side, being the lead lefty? I'm very interested to see how he looks from year 1 to year 2. CJ Curse will play host to Calgary. Now, Calgary Roughnecks, last week ago, they just played at Saskatchewan and lost 16-13. Now, their offense looked good. Their defense did not at all. And so now the fact they're going from Saskatchewan back over to Toronto, I'm very curious if their defense will be even worse, and it probably will be. So, will Brandon O'Neill or CJ Kirst score more goals? And who will have more true points? By true points, I mean goals and primary assists. We don't count hockey assists because, again, I like the tic-tac-toe points, but I don't like the throw the ball, wait 30 seconds until your other guy shoots it. That's just lame to me. So, who's going to have the better game? Who do you think will? Drop it in the comments. Next storyline we're going to get to as we talk about our creating the narrative here are the contenders. So this week, the three contenders are playing, and by three contenders, I mean Buffalo, Saskatchewan, and Vancouver. Those were teams that, people talk about Halifax and Rochester, but these three teams are the ones where everyone's like, yo, they're going to be great again, okay? Buffalo plays host to Halifax, one of those sleeper teams. Saskatchewan plays at Ottawa, and Vancouver hosts Las Vegas. I'm interested to see, as we all should be, which of those teams makes the biggest statement. It's a big deal. So I'm very, again, intrigued. I will be looking forward to tuning into these games. Again, these games, by the way, in case you're wondering, Sask is at Ottawa Friday at 7:30. Buffalo is versus Halifax Saturday at 7. So Friday 7:30, Saturday at 7. And then Vancouver versus Las Vegas Saturday at 10. So think about that. You have a chance to watch all three of these games separately. And I know it's 7 o'clock. There were three games going on pretty much. But I do think Buffalo-Halifax will be the marquee matchup of those three games. So, Saskatchewan and Ottawa, Buffalo hosting Halifax, and Vancouver hosting Las Vegas. Who makes the biggest statement? All right, a couple of comments here. Neglected Banana, welcome back, sir. This feels like the end of the Wings. It is. Since they're not allowed in the arena, correct. At least the Calgary Roughnecks, that is true. They are allowed in the arena, at least for the next few years for sure. That's for sure. And again, the thing with Calgary, I'll just say it one last time here, is Calgary, they can fill their barn to the gills, but if concerts are going to be more expensive and still do the same thing, that's an issue for the Roughnecks. We will see how that transpires, but Philadelphia, as I reported first, and many others followed suit, Philadelphia is 1,000% in trouble unless a miracle happens. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means. And then Neglected Banana says, Ottawa seems like they might move. We'll do that next time. We're not doing the relocation talk. I'm just saying we're creating the narrative here for these games. All right, next up for these games, we're now going to talk about two different sides of the ball, okay? So again, Brandon O'Neill, CJ Kirst, who has the better game. Of the contenders, Buffalo, Saskatchewan, and Vancouver, who makes the biggest statement. And now, Rochester's defense is playing at San Diego. Now, the Seals just played a game in Ottawa where they made the Black Bears look silly. Early on, the Black Bears offense was not good. Dan McRae said, hey, our guys were not locked in, which I think was a big deal for that team. But now Rochester comes in. I don't think Rochester's offense is going to struggle. But can Rochester's defense take a big step? Because to be frank, the last 2 years, I know Ryan Hartley has missed he's missed half a season every year except for 1 year. I know Ryan Hartley's health is a massive deal. That being said, since Ryan Hartley is healthy to start this year, can Rochester's defense not be as big of an Achilles heel as it has been for this team? That's a big story. Again, we know Rochester's offense will be fine. Can their defense hold up its end of the bargain even just a little bit? And finally, Oshawa's offense at Georgia. Quite frankly, I know Buffalo's got a great offense, but Buffalo really stuck it to Georgia very well. They did not miss Chase Fraser and Chris Kluche. You cannot convince me that the addition of Ryan Benesh was the reason why. So can Oshawa Firewolves, after having scored 10 goals in just 2 games, can Oshawa bounce back at Georgia and get a victory? Or not even a victory. Folks, can Oshawa score 10 goals? At this point, I would be very impressed if Oshawa at least scored 10 goals. Now, if they lose, it's also a big story. But I think if they lose and they score less than 10, they're in a heap of trouble. I think if they win and they score 8 or 9, they're still in a heap of trouble. Oshawa needs to have a 10 spot and they need to win. So again, Rochester's defense and Oshawa's offense. How do those two teams look in their respective games? And that was creating the narrative for week number 3. Thunderbirds. I know Warren. Listen, in case you're new to the NLL, Warren Hill has great games, quite frequently. They just happen once every 5 to 7 games. So, Bears Thunderbirds might be game of the week. In fact, let me go and see what I think. I don't know if that's game of the week. I'm gonna see what I think. Sask at Ottawa. You've got Colorado at Philly, Calgary at Toronto, Halifax at Buffalo, Oshawa, Georgia, Las Vegas. I feel like that's okay. So I like how Halifax at Buffalo hypothetically is game of the week. Rochester, San Diego is also a good one. I think Las Vegas and Vancouver also sneaky game of the week, but yeah, Halifax Buffalo makes sense. I can say that. You'll see with my picks later on in the week why I'm not too concerned with this game, but hypothetically and in theory, Halifax and Buffalo should be a very competitive game. We'll see. All right, that's creating the narrative for week 3. When we come back, I'm giving my power rankings heading into the week. You don't want to miss that. As we wrap up the show, you're watching Daily Dive.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Welcome back to Daily Dive. So far on today's show, I first ripped into the NLL and their lack of respect for great players in their league, considering, again, they have only touched their NLL Hall of Fame twice in 10 years. And the alumni club is literally a half you-know-what joke. I then talked about the narratives for week number 3 that fans should look out for, the week 3 storylines. I mentioned that Brandon O'Neill and CJ Kirst, who will have a better game. Brandon O'Neill plays Colorado, CJ Kirst plays Calgary. Contenders, Buffalo, Saskatchewan, and Vancouver, who makes the biggest statements. Rochester's defense at San Diego and Oshawa's offense at Georgia could be a very intriguing thing. And now it's time for my NLL Power Rankings. Now, across the bottom of your screen, we're going to scroll the standings currently. And again, I'll say it, and hopefully no one tweets this before I do. I forgot to yesterday. If the season ended right now, and we had to do the playoffs tomorrow, did you know Philadelphia would make the playoffs and Vancouver would be out? I'm just saying. It's how everyone drew it up. Yes, that was me trolling. Okay. Before we get to my power rankings, I want to remind you that Joel Watson, who comes on the show every Tuesday to break down goalies, also gives you his top 5 teams. And this week, he went Buffalo, Saskatchewan took a jump, Vancouver dropped to 3, Rochester at 4, the Seals jumped into number 5. I thought that was interesting that he didn't put Halifax, but hey, good for Joel. Now, my power rankings, let's get to 14-9. My teams were hypothetically missing the playoffs. Calgary stays at 14. I really wanted to give them a quality loss, but I ultimately chalked it up to Saskatchewan taking their foot off the gas. So I kept Calgary at 14, Philadelphia at 13, Ottawa at 12, San Diego at 11, Las Vegas down to 10. I brought Halifax up 2 spots to number 9. Good for them. I still think their offense was absolutely pathetic, and the fourth quarter did nothing for me. Halifax has a serious problem on offense, and their defense is really awesome for that one game, but I'm not sure that's sustainable what they did against Oshawa. Alrighty, next up, number 8, Colorado stays put after a big win against Vancouver. Number 7, Toronto. Number 6, Georgia stays put. Oshawa does fall because they did lose. Rochester jumps up to 4. Saskatchewan, Vancouver, Buffalo. Now, I knew this question would come up. How is Halifax below Oshawa? Guys, I don't know if you can read the graphic. I had Halifax at number 12 or 11 to start the year. So absolutely, I take full pride in saying, my bad, I thought Halifax was not good to start. So them barely scoring is not an issue. And Oshawa also won a game in week 1. So that does matter. We'll see how this weekend looks. I promise you, Halifax fans, you're going to want to hold your horses on hating after 1 week. I promise you that. Because when you guys go to Buffalo, you're going to have a hell of a time. I'll just say that. All righty. That's the show for today. We'll beat it up on social media later. Again, reminder, you should refer to the NLL Alumni Club as him, or sir, or he. So stupid. All right, folks, that's it for today's show. Have a great rest of your day. This has been Daily Dive. Bye.